All right, guys, welcome to another podcast. So we're going to go through the global rugby schools update up to the 13th of May. This video is obviously going to be a hell of a lot shorter than the last one because we don't have so much to catch up on, just a weekend of games. So we start off with South Africa. Mackay had a good win over Transvaal, 36 points to 7. Menlo beat Noordheuvel. I would have expected a bigger margin, to be honest with you, 38-21. Gasfontein beat Hartius Middelburg 44-27. Another one where I'd expect a bit more of a gap between the two schools, but still a good win for Gasfontein there. And then a big upset, massive upset. Waterkloof beating Monument 28-21. I don't think anyone saw that coming. Tight game between Kersney and Michaelhouse. Derby game for the private schools in the KZN area, 23-20. Hilton, good win over Pretoria Boys R, 42-27. Glenwood, who by their standards not a great season, they had a decent win over St. Charles, 38-12. DHS's season of misery pretty much continues with a 34-24 loss to Maritzburg College, and then what must be a record of sorts, Greyhound versus Queens. And I mean, Queens, you sort of think to yourself how the mighty have fallen. I mean, this is a rugby school that back in the day, and I'm talking decades ago, they used to beat Grey College on a pretty regular basis, and they used to have very tight games against them. You look back to the 80s and how tight those games were. From the 90s onwards, it just the gap widened, and they were still one of the top schools in the Eastern Cape area, the border area, but it looks like they're in deep trouble. 74-8, I'm pretty sure that's a record loss to Grey High School. And then talking about how the mighty have fallen, Daniel Pienaar. I mean, Daniel Pienaar has got a very proud tradition and has been always one of the traditional powerhouses, not just in Eastern Cape rugby, but in South African rugby. And they lose to Kingswood 61 points to 13. I mean, that just shows you how far some of these like proud traditional schools have fallen. Let's hope they can reinvigorate their programs, but I don't know what else to really I can say about that. Selborne beat Dale 33-17. Selborne have got a good team this year, so I probably would have expected a higher margin than that, but still a solid win against their traditional rivals. I mean, Dale are always going to up their game against their traditional rivals in Selborne. So 33-17 win for Selborne. St Andrews absolutely decimating Graham, 48 points to 19. And then look at this one, Grey College versus Paul Boys. I mean, one of my followers, Aiden, I must apologize to you. You said it would be around about 20 points. I disagreed with you. You were right. I was wrong. 43-24. Then Cares have a good victory against St. Stithians, 54 points to 31. Cares are looking really good. They had a bit of a early season slip up, but they're looking really good now. And then another upset, and this I stand corrected, but I'm pretty sure this might be the first time this has ever happened. Westville beating Uffies 35-31. Uffies are having a torrid season. I mean, this is another proper powerhouse school, so I don't know what's going on over here. Then Jeppe beating St. David's 57-3. Very good win there for Jeppe. Jeppe are looking pretty good this year. Rondebosch continue on their fine vein of form, 73-11 win, although not a big school against Paul Valley. That's still a pretty solid result. Good run out for the guys. Sax versus Brackenfell, 33-15 win for Sax. Look at Bishops. I mean, I don't know when the last time they beat a Wineland school was, but to beat a Wineland school and Boland Landbou specifically 53 points to 10, that's massive. That is a massive score. And then Framesby having a tight win over Drosty, 35 points to 29. So yeah, very interesting weekends. We're starting to see a few of the sort of traditional powerhouses slip away. We're starting to see some big upsets. Usually school rugby is pretty predictable in terms of what will happen, but I think we've seen that change a little bit, which is quite interesting. Anyway, so on to my top 10 for the South African teams. In 10th place, I've got a new entrant in Kes. You can see they have just that one loss in their first match against Glenwood. And for the rest of the time, it's been very good. I mean, they beat Uffies. I think it was the first time in their history they did that, and a very good win against Jeppe. And Jeppe beat Selborne this year. So Yeah, I think they're finding the momentum, and I think that a top 10 place is definitely warranted for Kes. Ninth place, I got Framsby. They're up by one. They've had some great results. Just the one slip up against Selborne, as you can see there, 17 points to 20. Um, I think Selborne on their day can beat anyone, especially with old Jared Taylor and Jacques Wilson. Those two in a team are very scary. And I think from what I understand, they're both going to the Sharks next year as well. So very interesting. Eighth place, we got St Andrews College up by one. You can see there's the slip up against Rondebosch over there, who are having a great year. Also had a draw against Grey High. But I think Graham and St Andrews is one of the oldest rivalries in South Africa. And you can see by the scoreline, they just completely decimated them. They're looking really good. So, yeah, eighth place, I got St Andrews College. Seventh place, I got Rondebosch. They're up by one. Just the one loss to Porus, who are basically world champions after winning Sanex, right? You can say it like that, I suppose. Although Gray might have 1 or 2 words for me if I claim that. But yeah, just the one loss against Porus. Some great wins against St Andrews and Grey High School. Grey High School definitely knocking on the door of the top 10. Sixth place, I got Monument. They're down by one. They should not have lost to Waterkloof. I think a lot of people are shocked about that. And the other two losses are to really good teams in Poldrum and Paul Boys. Then in fifth place, up by one, I got Garsfontein. Just the one loss against the Powerhouse. But besides that, they've had some really good victories. I mean, look at their score against Waterkloof. I mean, they completely decimated Waterkloof, and Waterkloof just beat Monument. So Gossies are looking strong this year. And I expect them to continue this rich vein of form. Fourth place is Paul Boys. They stay in the same position, just the recent loss against Grey, 24-43. Even though they've only played 2 games, I've still got Porus at number 3. I think they're playing Poldrum this coming weekend, which would be a cracker of a game. Second place, Poldrum. They didn't play this weekend, had a bit of a break. Obviously, just the one loss against Grey College. And as usual, the number 1 is Grey College. They stay in the same position, just having a fantastic season. Now, could this team go on to be the greatest of all time in terms of great teams? We'll see. I mean, they're definitely on their way. It depends how they do against Porus. If they can give a 15 to 20 margin against them, then I'll definitely say they're up there with the 2007 team. Then moving on to New Zealand. So the Auckland competition's in the second round. St. Kent's having a tight win against Sacred Heart 2019. So thank goodness they've been led in the competition again. They were banned. Aurora College beating Liston 15-7. De La Salle beating Dilworth 19-6. Auckland Grammar, big victory against Carlston, 23 points to 7. And then Kings beating Tangaroa 48-0. And you can see in the top 4, everyone's pretty much in the same position except for Rory, who's coming in at 4th place. But remember, St. Peter's and Mags still have to play at the time of press. Then the UC Championship, Lincoln Combined having a good victory over Shirley Boys. Nelson thrashing Naroki Combined 43-3. St. Andrews beating Marlborough 30 points to 24. Waimea Combined beating the Mid-Canterbury Combined 17-15 in a tight game. St. Bede's having a very good victory over Rangiora, 33-14. And then Christ College beating St. Thomas, 29-16. And we just got to wait for Christchurch Boys against Timaru to see what ends up there. But as it stands right now, St. Bede's in first place up by 2. Christ College second. Third, St. Andrews, and fourth, Nelson. All new entrants. But I expect Christchurch Boys to beat Timaru, so what you could probably expect is Christchurch Boys to go up to number 1, obviously depending on the margin of victory. And then the North Harbour, the round 2, and this is my favourite competition in terms of bloody pronouncing names. So Westlake, big win against Manuruea. Oh, okay, 53-0. Orowe against Massey, 27-10. Rangitoto against Takapuna, 17-14. Now, how does this make sense? Okay. Basically, how you pronounce this is Fangaree. Don't ask me. That's what my followers are saying. Look, as I go along, I'll get better with these pronouncing these New Zealand names. This is the first sort of time I'm covering New Zealand rugby. Well, the second time technically, but making it part of my update. So as time goes by, I'll get the pronunciations right. So I'm not going to try again. The school that I just mentioned beat Ross Mini 28 points to 10. So in the top four, you got Westlake at first, Whangarei second, Orowea, whatever the hell it is, number 3, number 4, Rangitoto. I can't wait for the North Harbour competition to be done. I know it's still going to be a while, but yeah, that's quite a challenge. And then in terms of the Australian school rugby leagues, it looks like from what I'm researching that our trials are starting next week. I'm not sure if this is part of their competition season, but obviously I'll update where I can. And once again, thanks a lot for watching and following. As usual, leave your thoughts and comments below. And it should be a big week next week with some great games. And I think some of the other New Zealand competitions are going to be starting off this coming weekend. And I think hopefully we're going to be seeing the AAGPS and GPS start pretty soon, so I can start covering Australian schools as well. All right, guys, have a great week further.